really want you to understand, words of affirmation are so powerful.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And what I think you have to be clear, and I'm not saying that you're not, man. I'm just telling you who I was, because I was him at his age, and no one put me there. So I want you to hear what I'm saying to you clearly. You have a prodigy on your hands. I need you, every chance you get, to reinforce every moment that you get to see him do his thing. Because even watching, he's still not understanding what he has and who he is. I see him watch him to move in his motion, right? So we want to see the growth, because he's going to get to a point where he ain't going to look, he's going to just get a grip, right? But that was from last week. So I just wanted to say thank you, because millions of people are going to see him. So you need to be prepared for that. Thank you. Thank you, because I was sat back there like a proud father, because I wanted to be him, because I was in church every Sunday. Grandma was a pastor, my mom could sing. So I used to watch the drummer. I ain't nothing against you guys on guitar, y'all, all right? But the drummer creates emotion. The drummer creates the pace. The drummer gets you emotional, right? And then when the drummer only like has pipe size, you're like, oh, what is the situation? Damn. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you. So, my name is Richard Dwight Sutton. I go by Mr. PDQ. Mr. PDQ was my father's name. I took it and made it my brand. I have a company called People Demand Quality LLC. I just dropped a book called Fear of Becoming a Man. And I talk about stuff like that in the book, right? I talk about my life and what I went through and my journey from there to who I am now. I talk about my struggles. I talk about my father being around but not being present. I knew who he was, where he was at, how to get to him, but he wasn't present. I talked about having almost 15 uncles, right? They were around, wasn't present, right? And even though I was in church every Sunday, what did it mean, right? Well, my grandmother used to say to me all the time, baby, I don't care how far you go, you always gonna find your way back, right? So even with me being here, the pastor saying, you know, Rich, come through. You know, I get in my bag sometimes, I'm like, you know, this journey. But I've had somebody ask me the other day, so why did you name the book Fear of Becoming a Man? And so I had to sit and I had to think. I didn't name it. I didn't. I literally woke up one morning and it was on me so heavy. God said, I want you to name this book Fear of Becoming a Man. I'm not just saying this to you guys because we in church. This is what I tell everybody. Because it's the truth. I literally woke up. Like, you ever wake up and you feel like you can't shake it? It's on you. And you have to be obedient because it's so on you, so heavy, so hard. You have to move. You have to execute. And so I had to go write this book. Didn't know what it was about. I had no desire to write a book. None whatsoever. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go do this book because I want to be. Had no desire. So I wrote this book and it kind of just flowed. It flowed. I got a chapter in the book called God's Grace. And the reason why I called it God's Grace is because I did something real stupid and almost got 30 years. But I walked away unscarred. Literally. I mean, no, literally. Like, literally. I got caught with a pound of marijuana, a little over, 2 pounds of marijuana. They took me to prison, had me in a holding cell for probably like 5 or 6 hours. Came back and said, you know what, Mr. Sutton, we're gonna let you go on your own recognizance. I ain't know what recognizance was, all I could was let go. I'm just let's have it, right? We're gonna do it. And it was the weirdest thing because I was in Rockville, Maryland. They let me out. And I had to have walked probably like, I'm going to say probably like 10 blocks. At the end of those 10 blocks, it was a shopping center. It's like 2, 3 in the morning. And the shopping center is this cab that's just sitting there. Just sitting there. I remember going up to the cab saying, I got to get home. I don't remember telling them where I live. I don't remember having a real conversation with him because I was exhausted. I sat in the holding cell for about six hours. I was tired. I walked 10 blocks. Got in the back of the car. And next thing I know, it was like, young man. I wake up. He's like, you home? I look like, what? He said, you home? I said, okay. I got out the car. I had no money because they took me to prison. I had no cell. I had nothing. I had no cell phone. I had nothing. That's why I had to walk. And I said, well, give me a second. Let me run the house and get some money. He said, okay. And then literally, as soon as I closed the door and walked off, the car pulled off. Wow. Literally. Right? So then, they was like, before I left the prison, the cop said, listen here, young man. He said, you got a serious situation on your hands. You need to find an attorney. I said, all right, no problem. So I go. Next day I wake up, I'm a little shook, but I'm not calling home because I don't want them to know what I'm going through and the stupid decision I just made. Right. Grandma would have been on my back. Baby, now you know you ain't supposed. What is you? Oh my Lord. Make her so rest. And so I called. I'm calling around. I get this white guy. He's an attorney. I go see him. How in the world? I'm in the DC metropolitan area, as big as that area is, and I find an attorney from Philadelphia. Wow. Not only from Philadelphia, but from Chestnut Hill. I grew up in Germantown. Wow. So I go see him. I'm like, this white dude just talking. He ain't really from Philly. He ain't. We go start talking. He like, yeah, he went to Wheaton High School. I said, I went to Germantown High School. He said, oh yeah, I went to Germantown Academy. What? He said, and so we just started talking. I'm like, wow. He said, listen, man, we got a real situation, man. They're going to give you 30 years. Easily, without question. He said, so we got to figure this out. So we talked. He said, but listen, since you from home, I'm going to charge you half of what I normally charge. Wow. I was like, oh, all right. That works, right? Everything worked out, and we went to court, and I remember sitting there talking to him before we went in. We debriefed, and it's like 2 months before I went to court. We debriefed. At that point, I was like, listen, you was man enough to go get the drugs. You got to be man enough to fall on your sword. So I was like numb. I wasn't scared. I just was numb. Sat in the jury, and I walked out unscathed. I did 2.5 years of probation. Did no time. I never seen the inside of a cell. I kept my job. I was assistant manager at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Yes. I had to go. What I had to do was I had to go. It went from every 2 days I had to go take a drug test. It went from 2 days to 1 day to once a month. It just bowed down. But even my parole officer was a black lady named Ms. Davis, because it was a drug charge. She was supposed to come see where I lived at. Never came. She said, you good. Wow. As long as you come up clean, me and you ain't gonna have no issues. I only seen her that one time. Never seen her again. Wow. Right? So when I walked that off, and it was like, he was like, oh yeah, we'll get it expunged. So I'm always passionate when I see young dudes doing something, because first of all, as a black man, how many of us go get caught in the system and walk away? I mean, literally walk away. Like, I'm talking like no orange jumpsuit, period. They didn't even get to measure me. I was cool. They didn't even get to measure me. And so I always talk about that proudly, because I felt like I got a second chance, and my second chance had a purpose behind it. So I had to understand what my why was. Right? And a lot of times we don't understand what our why is. And you have to truly understand what your why is. So my why is, I speak to young dudes all the time. You know what I'm saying? From 12 to 21, I get at them. I talk to them. They got their pants hanging down in front of me. I say something to them, because I ain't scared of them. But I meet them at their level, never disrespectful. And one thing I think that we have to stop doing in our community is saying that, oh, these young kids ain't got a clue. They're wasting time. They this and they that. Those words have power. Y'all know that, right? Words have power. But what you have to do is change the ideology and how you speak to them and talk to them, because it makes a difference. And a lot of these young dudes, all they want to do is feel love. All they want to do is hear a deep voice tell them, you good. You're going to be all right. let me talk to you for a minute. Right. You know what I'm saying? You got your pants hanging down. Why you got your pants hanging down, dude? What, I don't even like your drawers. I don't even want to see them. Like, that's not what I'm into. You know what I'm saying? Like every Tuesday and Thursday, I do something down with the JJC down on 35th and Haverford. What happened was I went there under somebody else. Then that person canceled the contract. They called me because the kids was like, "Oh, we want Mr. Rich." So I ended up back down there because they wanted me to be down there. And I talked to the kids. I get at them. I let them know, like, you know, what it is. And stop thinking that your story is that different. It's a lot of us that's going through your story. It's just how you do it, how you handle it, right? And I tell them all the time, I'm from the hood. I'm just not of the hood. Wow. There's a distinct difference of understanding the difference between being hood and from the hood. And don't get me wrong, I can get hood with you easily, but it's not my choice. You feel what I'm saying? My choice is that I know, I stepped out, a little while back, and my aunt said something to me. She said, "Listen, first of all, you don't put yourself out there. You got yourself on social media, people looking at you, trying to be positive. You can't afford to make the mistake now. You can't afford to lose the temper. Right. You can't afford to just pop off. Right. You don't put yourself out there." Right. And so ever since then, I had to be really conscious of my movement and how I move. Mm-hmm. So the book is definitely just my story, my journey, talking about what that path was. I was actually going to grab the laptop because I was going to read a little bit from it. I think it's that if you're a single mom raising a young boy, it's a great book to have. Wow. It's going to create conversation. Mm-hmm. It's going to have your son make you should read it and you should read it with him, and then spark that conversation, right? If you're a young dude just in your struggle, feeling like you can't win, and feeling like that what you're going through is harder than what you think the other side is going to look like, it's a great book to read, right? I'm the same little dude that they put in special ed classes and told that I wasn't going to finish high school, that I wasn't going to be that bright. I went to college, I finished high school, now I'm writing a book. Amen. That's the other reason why I do it, because they label us. And they're quick to label young boys, young black boys fast. So think about the seeds that's being planted. If I'm already telling you you're not that bright, but you got a learning disability, and if mom and dad ain't home telling me how smart I am, how sharp I am, how I can conquer the world and do any and everything that I want to do, so I don't have that happening. And then I go to school, you got me telling me that I really ain't that bright. Mm-hmm. So you ain't teaching me what the other kids is teaching me. Right. Then why should I act normal? Why shouldn't I act a fool? Mm-hmm. Why shouldn't I be a problem situation? Mm-hmm. So then you got to think about that pipeline of prison. Mm-hmm. They look at it from third grade. Right. From third grade is based on how many prisons they going to build throughout the country. And if you didn't know, now you know. So they look out, if your kid acting up, wilding out, and so forth and so on, they already tag him and say he going to prison. Mm-hmm. He ain't going to be a part of society too long. Mm-hmm. So I feel like at the end of the day, my why is to be out here, trying to impact these kids. My why is trying to be a difference maker, a difference factor within society. My why is that if I just save one person's child, just one, and that the day God cut tag my ticket, and he can come there and say, had I never met him, I'm good, right? Job well done, right? Because I believe at the end of the day, we all got a calling. I listen to Les Brown all the time. I don't know if you guys know who Les Brown is, right? Yes. Les Brown says the richest place on earth is the graveyard. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the reason why the richest place on earth, the reason why the richest place on earth is the graveyard, because you got so many people with so much potential but never act on it. And so I think about it like this. And if I'm talking to you in here, I hope you take this well. If God has laid something on your heart to do, be, go, get, have, make, and you don't act on it, please help me understand that when it's your time to stand in front of Him, how you justify you not doing what you were supposed to do. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. If you know that something's been planted in your soul to do something and you don't act on it, please explain to me how you're going to have that conversation. Well, you know what had happened was, I had other stuff to do. I was busy. So I just want you to think about that. Please chase your dreams. Go after your goals. Do what it has to do. Because you're going to lose a lot of people in the process. Because people don't want to see you be great. People don't want to see you be who you won't be. So I remember my grandma used to always say to me as a kid, you know, baby, God got a calling on you. So I realized my calling, everybody's calling doesn't mean you're supposed to be in the pulpit. And everybody calling doesn't mean you're supposed to be in church every Sunday. Right? Because you got to be, sometimes you got to have street warriors. You got to have somebody out there ready to pound the pavement and make it do what it do. And so I feel like, you know, you got to chase it. You got to be willing to chase what it is that you want. You know, and to me, fear of becoming a man, you got a lot of grown men that's scared. They're scared. Yeah. They are petrified. Because the responsibility of what it is and what it takes to be this thing called a man has a whole lot of responsibility and character behind it. Right? And it has nothing to do with your financial situation. Because I done seen real broke men. And I've seen dudes with a whole lot of money with no character and little boys in men's bodies. It's a difference. So figure out what that fear is and conquer it. Because you ain't got a choice. And particularly as us as black men. As black men, we have to take a stance. One of the things I say all the time is, I spoke at Temple last couple of weeks ago. And the man I was supposed to speak with was an older gentleman. I say he's a baby boomer. I'm a Generation Xer. He's a baby boomer, right? And what I said to him was, there's a distinct disconnect between us and you. And he said, what you mean? I said, because your generation dropped the ball for my generation. And because your generation dropped the ball for my generation, that's why we have this new generation so jacked up. So he got a little offended. Now, I'm not trying to offend you, brother. I'm just trying to give you what the truth looks like. And sometimes that pill don't always taste the best. Right? Because a lot of times the breakdown in communication is different. Because your communication is different from my communication doesn't mean we can't communicate. Right. We just got to respect each other and understand each other's points. Because here's what I'm telling you is that what you have from here can empower me to move better, to impact my generation a whole lot better. Because your knowledge, your wisdom is all I need. Because you can't get out here and march with me no more. This ain't your gate no more. This ain't where you supposed to be at. Right? The wise man sits in the chair and he gives wisdom. Right? He ain't supposed to be out there fighting with me because he done earned his stripes. That's why he the wise man. Right? So I need this generation, the baby boomer generation to understand that we really need you to stand up and walk with this Generation Xers so we can take back our communities. I think our communities have been deployed because of that disconnect in communication. Fear of becoming men. Fear of stepping out of our comfort zone. Fear of thinking that if we do something different from what we know, then it just might not work. And I think that's the craziest ideology to have. So I'm gonna shut up and get from up here so I can run. But if anybody got any questions before I jump, because I'm infamous for jumping down without questions. So does anybody have any questions? None?
Where do we start? Where do the men start?
As far as?
You talked about the baby boomers.
I think I think. So I got two things that I think that we have, two things I struggle with all the time. And please, what I'm about to say to you guys, please don't get offended. It's just me standing on my morals and what life has shown me. Two things the thing that I struggle with is this. They say the church is the backbone of the black community. Help me understand how the church is the backbone of the black community. Every Sunday we ask for offering. But very few churches teach financial stability and financial mindset. You can't tell me that the black church is the backbone of the black community because the backbone helps you stand straight.
That's right.
We broken.
That's right.
Financially we broken. Right?
That's right.
Emotionally we broken. Spiritually we broken. So when you ask me what we can do is get the baby boomers to sit down and start to have dialogue with these guys that's my age, 40, 35, 38, 31, 29. Have a conversation with them. But don't talk at them, talk to them. Listen. Because you're older than me doesn't mean that I don't have something, a jewel I can give you.
You're right.
Right? And so we have to make sure that that communication stays open. And then when that communication stays open, then that means wisdom begins to move. When wisdom starts to get to moving in the community, we can change the community as a whole, because then we got people to stand up and know how to move down right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I would tell you, I am a baby boomer.
Amen. Respect.
I would tell you that I'm not afraid of young people. I talk to young people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That is my love. I have a large family with a lot of young people in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So by the same token, I minister in nursing homes and then that's called a life center.
Mm-hmm.
Elderly people.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I tell them is to talk to the young people. Because they need to get the wisdom. And don't be afraid of them. They'll be happy to talk to you. Little children love older people.
Yeah.
They just need them to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what happens. So really, the church needs to do that. I know my pastor has a heart for young people. And a lot of pastors that I know have a heart for young people. They will do just what you did, point out somebody who is really interested in doing certain things, and they really help them on the way. Okay? And that's one of the things that our churches do. I'm from Mount Zion Baptist Church.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do.
Where Mount Zion at?
50th Street and Woodland Avenue.
Okay.
Southwest Street.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we've been doing for a long time. This is my family, this is my life.
Mm-hmm.
She loves young people.
Mm-hmm.
I got my sister, my niece back there, they run the daycare.
Mhm.
The daycare business.
Mhm.
And they have taught a lot of people went on this college, like so it's just a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
I got 3 grandboys, all 3 grandboys, they were in college.
Yes, sir.
I got the last one is in college right now.
Yes, sir.
I got 2 of them in college.
HBCUs?
Huh?
They went to HBCUs?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And we talking. Now I can hear you a little better now. I can hear you a whole lot clearer.
That's what, and I totally agree with you, but when you talk about the church, now the church is the backbone of the community. But what is happening now in the world, a lot of the churches are beginning to get like the world. And the church is supposed to be a light to the world.
Yes.
And so, and give direction to the world.
Yes.
So that people can come.
Yes.
But people are coming into church now. Okay? And then rely on one, I don't want to tell my sermon, but you'll hear something.
So here's what I say to you. First of all, I respect you for speaking up. I respect you for being who you are, and I respect you for saying you do what you do. The disconnect, what I'm saying is that we just can't do it. Some of us need to be doing it. We need more of us to do it. See, what you can see right now, you and I are open hand.
Mm-hmm.
If I smack you, it's only but so much. But when I ball it up and I got a full fist, I can knock you straight out.
Mm-hmm.
This way right here is way more powerful than an open hand could be any day. So what I'm saying is, out of respect, that we need to move more of a unisex, more of a unit, to have more of us. I need to be able to, like for me doing what I'm doing, I need to be able to say, I should be able to pick up a phone, not for just you, for like 10 other yous, right? With no problem to get wise counsel. And it doesn't have to always be on a biblical perspective.
Right.
Just as men. And that's what I'm saying. We need men to be men. And that's where the struggle is. And that's where I when I go in the book, I talk a lot about that. Like, we have to learn to be men. Right? We have to learn to see, when I think about a man, I think about growing up. Remember my grandfather getting up every morning. He working with his hands, but everything about him was a real man. Right? He knew what he had to do. His responsibilities was make sure that home was taken care of, but also feed to his grandkids and his kids. He did that, right? He had a short time. He died in '82, so I didn't get to get the full experience. But that little bit of spark from him I got, I remember. And so it's about impact at this point. We don't have time right now to dip and dive and stick our toe in it. You got to be willing to stand straight in it.
Yes.
And be totally comfortable with standing in it and know that anything that comes to you, that you're ready to deal with it. And that's what I'm talking about. So I'm not saying that I'm any better than anybody else. I'm not saying I'm doing anything different from anybody. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I hear what you're saying. I think about my dad. My dad is 86 years old. it talked about the men in the city gate, I think in the city gate, that the people will know them. Like they give them they say, my dad's name is Smoke. They say, here comes Mr. Smoke, and they give respect. One of the guys, he said, we would have robbed your dad, but your dad's been around here a long time, and we respect Mr. Smoke. So God said they will be known in the city gates. And my dad, he's old, and he went to like 6th grade, but he sits down, and he has a whole bunch of grandkids, nieces and nephews, but he sits down and he talks to us. Not a grown man, but he shares stories that he went through. And the thing that gets me, this is really passionate to me, there are guys in the community that are drug dealers, on the corner with drugs, and we need, and what I was going to say is, get on our face, the men, and pray and seek the Lord for these guys, because they're getting shot down by the dozen, and it's on my heart, and then what you told me, he told me to pray for these young men, but they getting killed all the time. So that's why actually, what should they do? Where should they start?
It's just it's about us standing up. I just feel like we got to be more of us to stand up, and that's why I said we need to be able to seek wise counsel from the baby boomers so the Generation Xers can impact the other us. And outside of that, you got to think about this, and think about this. There's no other community of people where the women are the dominant force in the community. Not one. You cannot name me no other community outside of the black community where the woman is the dominant force. Just us. Now, there's factors in that. You got the drug epidemics from the 80s, Reaganomics. I mean, you got so much other stuff that you can look at there, but we got to think about the attack on us and how we're handling it. And so, at some point, we need wise counsel, and we need to be guided in the movement, because there's a lot of me here in Philly moving around, but we moving as individual lanes. We're not moving as a wolf pack.
That's true.
And if you ever see a wolf pack moves, right? When a wolf pack moves, they move, right? We move.
Yep.
But what happens is there's no dominant one in the wolf pack. What happens is when the wolf pack is moving, if he falls in front, the wolf pack forms behind him. However he moves, the wolf pack moves. And what else happens is this wolf right here, he's in the back, covering the back. He makes sure that nothing can come from the back to attack. Wow. Nothing can happen from us from the back. So we never got to look over our shoulders, because this wolf going to alarm the rest of us if we need to turn around. That's what wolf pack moves like. And so when we can start to move as a wolf pack, then we can take back our communities. So we keep looking for everybody else to help us, but we won't save ourselves.
Wow.
We got to put down all the, because you do this, or you for that, or this is your religion. No, we need to save our community, because we got these little dudes looking up at us.
That's right.
And a lot of them feel like they can't do it. A lot of them feel like they don't know. And that's why I told you, listen, in my generation, we wasn't supposed to make it past 21. I'm 40. This ain't by chance or circumstance. I understand. What is your why? A grandmother.
And your mother sang, and you out there to be on the drum.
No, I wanted to be on the drums. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but and as time went on, and because we all, like the song said, especially we fall down, get back up. Okay, my question is, during the dark time, what did you think about your salvation?
What did I think about?
Salvation, yours.
My salvation?
Was it affected? Did it affect you? Was it bad?
My salvation, to me, is a key point to me evolving into who I am. My grandmother, if you go look at the book, right? When you go in a book, it's a picture of my father, my mother, then there's a picture of me, my son, and my father. And it's 3 generations. The very next page is a picture of this Moselle Sutton. And over the top of it says, my angel. I had a connection with my grandmother that was uncanny. My grandmother was very spiritual. Actually, right before she passed away, I remember sitting with her in the hospital, and she kept looking up. And she just kept looking, and she kept saying, So I'm looking too. You see, Grandma, right? So my grandma is a core part of who I am. Everything about me is my grandmother. My grandmama has laid. I had a dark point when I was living in D.C. and I thought about killing myself. And I remember being on the highway and I was driving and something said speed up. Get up to about 95 and then hit the barrier because I was over top of 95. If I hit the barrier, I was going to flip over. And as I just started to speed up, I heard her voice. And she said, you know, that ain't what we do. And that is not what God likes. If you kill yourself, how are you going to explain that? And that's why I live by that piece of when God says, put a call on you, and you're supposed to move and execute, and you don't choose to execute, how will you explain that to God? So I parallel a lot of what I do. You'll hear a lot of what I say, even in the book. I talk about my grandma through that whole book because she's laid so many little seeds in my life that were planted, and I'm who I am because a lot of her. She wasn't perfect. Believe me, she wasn't perfect. But she was perfect to me. You know what I'm saying? She was awesome. So my spirituality, who I am, the man I've become, is a lot about her. A lot about the things she would tell me over the years, the things she would say to me. You know what I mean? I remember not being able to read. I'm going to shut up, Pastor. I remember not being able to read, right? And she would make me stand up in our church that she had in the basement of her house. I struggled with reading. And you know how the Old Testament is. Yeah. That's like one of the hardest to read. She would make me stand up in front of my cousins and read. And I think to this day, I'm such an excellent reader now because of that. Because you're trying to 4,000 dollars and trying to figure that out. You know? So I'm going to shut up. Thank you for having me. Please, if you get a chance, you can go to www.fearofbecomingtheman.com. You can get the ebook and the hard copy to be ready in about 2 weeks. So I appreciate you for having me, Pastor. Thank you.
Come on, let's give him a hand. Somebody make some noise. Can y'all make a little noise? Just